In the Michigan State Spartans, the focus of today's edition of Around the Big Ten presented by April Air. Let's talk about the Spartans with Graham Couch of the Lansing State Journal. Graham, so much talk about Tyler O'Connor versus Damian Terry, and those of us who know this program know that this year it could be a lot more about the run game and the emergence of LJ Scott. From what you've seen from him in camp, what kind of year could Scott be destined for?
Well, I think a lot of it depends what's in front of them. The biggest question on this Michigan State team, I think, is that offensive line and replacing Jack Allen, Jack Conklin, Donovan Clark, three guys who are NFL guys, two All-Americans. And then, can LJ Scott separate himself from Madre London, from Gerald Holmes? And, none of those three are burners. They're not all that different in a lot of ways. But Scott was clearly the choice as a closer down the stretch, beginning at Western Michigan in the fourth quarter, and then obviously the drive against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. I think he has the biggest upside. I think if there's one of these guys who's going to wind up being kind of the bell cow back, it's him. But I'm not sure it winds up being a true situation where one guy is getting 20, 25 carries a game.
Let's talk about the wide receiver, such an area of strength over the last couple of years. 2 years ago, we saw Tony Lippett go from good to elite. We saw Aaron Burbridge do the exact same thing. Guy on the roster this year, Graham, that could do that?
It would be R.J. Shelton. And he is somebody who was used mostly on jet sweeps and gimmicks before last year and really blossomed as a third option as a receiver and made some big catches. I think there are more questions with that unit. There are a lot of options. Somebody, is probably going to emerge, but who that is, I don't think is a certain.
The defensive coaches have talked about the fact that they have depth, but in your estimation, do they have enough talent on that side of the ball to be as good as they've been in years past?
I think they'll be better than last year. And last year was a real struggle with the injuries in the secondary, especially. I think that safety, they're really good at one corner position. I think they'll be fine with Deontay Copeland back after the injury early last year. Up front, there's a lot of questions still. Not as many maybe as on offense. But is Demetrius Cooper, can he replace Shalik Calhoun? What are they going to get on the other side? Do they have enough inside? Can Malik McDowell be a really dominant presence in the middle consistently? I think there are a lot of questions there, and obviously that trickles down. If you don't have a pass rush that affects the secondary, if you're not sound up front, it affects who your linebackers are and what they can do.